This video focuses on class and location tracking in QuickBooks Online Plus. I am in my client's QuickBooks Online file as the accountant from QuickBooks Online Accountant. I'm going to go to the gear icon, Settings and Company Settings. And under the company settings themselves, if you scroll down a bit, you see a section called Categories. Click the pencil icon. So if you're used to QuickBooks Desktop, you're probably used to class tracking, so that you can run a profit and loss by a class or department or some other kind of profit center or division. That's essentially what class tracking is for, and Plus has that as well. And you can turn class tracking on for the summary of the transaction that's being entered, or to each row in a transaction, which is, as far as I know, the most popular reason for class tracking in QBO Plus, because Plus also includes a location tracking, which is always the summary of the transaction that it's tagged to. And you can choose a particular nomenclature for location. In this case, I have it as property, as this is a landscaping business, but it could be territory, store, department, division, etc. And what that allows me to do is free up the classes for something else. And actually class tracking, because I can do one to each row in a transaction, it would allow for more detailed reporting. Because this is really what the reason for being of these two categories are. They are not accounts, they're not items, they're not products and services or names like customers, vendors. They are their own categories to then filter reports by or add columns to reports. Okay, I'm going to use a simple example of a profit and loss. So that's how you turn them on. You just check off the box and then click Save, and then Done. Then go back to the gear icon, and under Lists, All Lists, you will see your class list as well as your property or quote-unquote location list. You can just drill in just to see how many classes that I have, and I can run a quick report on the class right here. You can do subclasses as well. So let's go to the scenario where we'd be using classes. I'm going to go to a check and just choose the appropriate vendor. I have gas here, and again, I have a class for vehicle gas, and in this case, it was on my way to the property up in McKinney, Texas. Notice, though I can have one location for all this $96, because I have a apple tree as well, right? The $56 is going to planting, where $40 is going to vehicle gas, but all 96 is going to McKinney. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Close. And obviously it works on sales transactions as well. So if we go to a sales receipt, and I'll choose one of my customers here, and the service date was today. I did some lawn mowing. The class is going to be for lawn maintenance, right? That's where that revenue is going to go. And the property in this case is going to be for Salina. I'll go ahead and save and close it. You can also do class and location on journal entries. If I go to the big plus sign, transactions, and then journal entry, now I can, let's look for a journal entry that I might have had. I could tag, the property for this particular revenue. I could tag the property if I want to, and then a class here for what it was, right? And all of this allows me to then differentiate or filter on a report. The biggest thing to point out is that location tracking happens at the summary of the transaction. So the total amount, not each line, that is what you'd use class tracking for, but the total amount of the transaction will go to the location. And that's important when deciding, well, how am I going to use location tracking versus class tracking? But what I like about it is you can use both. And you'll notice that several reports are already ready to go: profit and loss by class, profit and loss by property. So I'll run my profit and loss by class just to give you an idea of what it'll look like. And I'll have stuff that's not specified. That means there's no class attached, so I just drill in and add the class.